Methods of data collection. Survey. In surveys, data are obtained from individuals either by verbal or written communication, and it can either be a census or a sample survey. When you say census, this is a complete enumeration like the 2020 Census of Housing and Population. Whereas, when we talk about a sample survey, examples of this would include the labor force survey, as well as the family income and expenditure survey. Now, surveys obtains information through the following: personal interviews, self-administered questionnaires, telephone surveys, mailed questionnaire, online surveys, focus group discussions, and key informant interviews. Now, let's discuss each type, starting with personal interviews. In here, interviewers personally ask the questions to the respondents and record the answers of the respondents on the questionnaires. For some of us, the thought that you have to approach a stranger is already difficult. What more if you have to ask personal questions like how much is your monthly income? Doing a personal interview is really difficult, and that is why data collectors, or sometimes called enumerators, are being trained for the job. And it is also preferred to get data collectors with experience. Conducting a personal interview will give us complete responses and more accurate information, but it is more expensive than other methods of conducting a survey. In conducting a personal interview, the usual approach is that the data collector will be the one to ask the questions, then the respondents will answer. And then the data collector will jot down the answer. This can be done through different modes. First, we have the poppy or the pencil and paper interview. And this mode of personal interview uses printed paper questionnaire and pen or pencil. The next mode that we have here is called copy, or the computer-assisted personal interview. And this is usually done with the use of a tablet containing all the questions, and the answers will be entered in the tablet. Lastly, we have Kathy, or the computer-assisted telephone interview. And this is used by utility companies like Globe and Smart to conduct surveys regarding their services. Now, the reason why the government conducts surveys is that the data gathered will be used for coming up with programs of the government. And when we don't give accurate information, then the programs created by our government will be put to waste. We hope that Filipinos in general will change their attitude towards answering surveys. Now, the next type of survey that we have here is called the telephone interview. And in here, interviewers ask the questions to the respondents through the telephone. Now, in a telephone survey, you can only do it for a few number of minutes. Some sources say that 50 to 30 minutes is enough, but usually, beyond 7 or 10 minutes, respondents might be tempted to already hang up. Now, in a self-administered questionnaire, respondents fill up the questionnaires themselves without any assistance from an interviewer. Thus, the directions on how to accomplish the questionnaires should be very specific and clear. For online surveys, respondents read the questions and send his responses via the internet or electronic mail. And online surveys are very cost-friendly because you can use different platforms for this. For example, you can use Google Forms or SurveyMonkey, among others. But the disadvantage of this is that only those who will go to that particular website would be able to answer the survey. Meanwhile, when we talk about the mailed questionnaire, this is a set of questions mailed to the respondent. And the response rate for a mailed questionnaire is only around 10 to 20%. So, if your study is very important, then we advise that you do not use a mailed questionnaire. Some companies still do this, like private companies wherein they advertise certain products. By answering their questionnaires and by mailing it back to them, they will give you free products or sometimes subscriptions. Now, let's discuss focus group discussions. In here, a moderator follows a question guide to direct a freewheeling discussion among a small group of people. FGD is a qualitative method of collecting data. You get words, statements, reactions, feedbacks, and comments. And this is usually done for a group of 8 to 12 people. And the people here should be homogeneous to a certain characteristic, because the purpose is that every participant should participate. So, for example, all participants are housewives or all participants are policemen. By the way, we'd also like to inform you that PSRTI also offers a training course on FGD. And this is a good method of data collection, because the trend nowadays is that you combine a qualitative and a quantitative method of data collection. For context, survey is a quantitative method of data collection, while FGD is, as mentioned, a qualitative method of collecting data. For key informant interviews, these are in-depth interviews with people who know what is going on in the community, including leaders, professionals, or residents who have first-hand knowledge about the community.